me. I'm back. What's up, party people? We're like, Mass, come on. All right, this show is taking a turn for the. Oh. Matt, how's it going?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you just fine.
Awesome, there you guys are. Awesome.
Yeah. So Matt, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a good day. I got to actually hang out with some vets yesterday and it was a good time. So we enjoyed it. It was a good Veterans Day.
It's great. It was also as I was reminded by my friends in the Marine Corps, that was the Marine's birthday on Monday.
Yep, 250.
Yeah. So
I think they probably had a party for the centuries. They're pretty much known for that.
Well, knowing my friend, he was a machine gunner, and he likes to remind me all the time of all the things that he did for me, and he'll send it to me, and we have that relationship where he can say pretty much just about anything to me, and
Right.
I'm super grateful for it because I didn't serve, and so I'm grateful for everything he did. But I'm really excited for today, and
I am as well.
Yeah, thank you for putting this together. And when you approached me and you were like, we should do something special for the Week of Veterans Day, and we should tell some stories and talk about fishing and in the role that it's played in people's lives. And I thought, that's a really good, especially given our community and the number of people that we have that are part of this. I thought, this is a great topic. So I'm really excited to hear some stories today. Let's look at the chat before we get started. We got Lewis.
For sure.
We got Jerry Taylor. Thank you. We got Jerry Taylor. Viper Vision, of course, he's sick, and we hope he feels better soon. James Anthony. Who else? We got Cotton. Marty Lawson. Hello, sir. What else? We got man stuff, dad stuff. My God, we got a lot of people in here. We got some names that I haven't seen before. We got Larry. Larry showed up at my door. Larry texted me from Chunk Chasers, and he said, I'm going to deliver a shirt to you, and I'm going to deliver it Amazon style. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, I'm going to deliver it to your house. I'm like, do you even have my address? He's like, I'm in your driveway right now. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I know I hand out my phone number like candy, but I didn't expect someone to show up at my door. And it was really, really, really great to meet him. So Larry, it was really great meeting your wife, your grandkids. And thank you so much for coming by. It really means a lot. And, if you guys are ever in Northern California and you need a breakfast burrito or some fishing supplies, head over there. Who else? Ralph. Hello, sir. If you guys are new to the chat or first time here, let us know. Love to say hi to you guys. But we got a great show, and I don't want to waste any time. So to all of you that are watching that are active or veterans, thank you so much for your service. There's not a single day that I take for granted. the freedoms and the things that I'm allowed to do because of all of you. So thank you so much. And Bearded Dads, first time here. Thank you for coming. Yes, Army Bass Anglers. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about them. You guys do spend a lot of time with the veterans and taking them out fishing. Larry at Chunk Chasers they got a boat and they're sending people out left and right. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So do you want to introduce everyone, Matt, or should I just bring them all on board and we can just
I don't know. I think let's just bring everybody on because we've got a pretty spectacular crew, but I want them to tell how cool they are each individually because they all have some cool stories.
All right. So first up, he's no stranger to the show. It's Chauncey Cotton, Fishing with Cotton. How's it going, man?
I'm going great. Appreciate you guys bringing me on.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here. Next up, we got from Army Bass Anglers, the president himself, Sean Dalrymple. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Great to be with you guys. Just always awesome to hang out with you, Rick, and put up with Matt a little bit along the way. So
try to at least.
I do the best I can. I can do the best I can. Next up, we got Jay Stryker Barnett. Jay, how's it going, man?
Hey, man, going well, man. Thanks, guys, for having me on. This is my first time, so guys, take it easy on me. I promise I won't be too bad on here. Fellow friends here, but thanks a lot, guys. I'm really excited about it. So,
yeah, definitely. Thanks for being here. And then last but not least, he's world famous. He is he's known throughout the land as the King of Cast King. Let's give it up for Jose. Let's give it up for.
What's up, everyone? Hey, good seeing all these familiar faces again.
Yep.
Thank you, Rick and Matt, for putting this on. You know, this means a lot to not only us on this show, but the veteran community as a whole.
Yeah. So you guys all serve this country, and you and your families made sacrifices that I will never, I'll never be able to comprehend. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you guys. I'd love to hear like a little bit about your stories and what it was like coming back and how fishing played such an important role in integrating back into normal life. So I don't know, Jose, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. For me, my situation was different from a lot because I was medically retired a little bit early. So I only did 16 years, still retired as a sergeant first class. But I was all in. Like Army was all I knew, all I did, all I cared about, didn't care about. Unfortunately, wife, family, all that stuff was second, mission first, so a lot of us like to put it. And then I hit a point to where the Army was gone, and I think we've all experienced once the Army's done or once the military's done with you, that's it. Like you're out. And
thank you for your service, and they pat you on the back.
Dude,
just a piece of paper in civilian world.
Yeah, they shook my hand and went on my way. And a lot of people don't know this story. The day I signed out on retirement, jumped in my car and I went to my first Fishing for Freedom event with Warriors for Freedom. And then because I really didn't want to do much with any type of veteran organization, but they're like, well, they do fishing. And I was all, well, I got time for fishing. Right. And so I went into that and, things kind of went from there. But as far as the fishing, I used to never want to be alone in my thoughts. That was probably the worst place I could be, was alone in my thoughts. I'm not scared to say I had a lot of issues with suicidal ideation, things of that nature. I was down a very, very dark road. But fishing was the only time where I could actually be out by myself, be grounded, take a deep breath. And so definitely fishing has been a big part. And then, of course, I didn't see it, but of course, you guys already know now I work in the fishing industry. So, yeah, I didn't see it. And it was a big, huge part of my healing process. Still is.
So you said 16 years, right?
Yes.
So you were if I remember right, a 13 Mike. Is that correct?
Papa or Juliet.
Okay.
Yeah, so fire direction. I was that. And then towards the second half of my career, I was a 92 Fox.
92 Fox. Okay. So explain in layman's terms or non-Army speak what those two are.
So initially I was fire direction for the multiple launch rocket systems, which field artillery, and then it converted to Juliet because I was already doing stuff with light artillery and everything. So now fire direction is one complete whole. And 92 Fox was basically petroleum fuel operations.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
And so you kind of touched on it a little bit when you were getting out, but so tell me a little more about your transition story, because there's a big, huge piece of where you are today and how that plays into what you've done in the past and how you've generated that. What really kind of led you down the path to end up picking up a rod and having that be a big part of your story?
So when I was getting ready to retire, we moved back to Oklahoma because originally that's where I met my wife, was when I was stationed at Fort Sill. And so we wanted to move back, obviously, originally being from California, you know, unless you got like Rick money, you can't live out that Southern California. So, you know, I was not moving back to San Diego. So came back out here and being blessed in Oklahoma, Matt, you know, there's tons of ponds, there's tons of bodies of water. I mean, I could just walk down the road and, you know, I could start fishing. And so super, super blessed to be in that area. My oldest at that time was fishing a lot.
Okay.
And so he was like, Dad, can we start fishing? And I grew up fishing whole life. So I started going out fishing with him. He was the first one that said, why don't you start an Instagram? And I said, that sounds stupid. I told him straight, I was like, I don't want to do that. And I did it, but it started to do, you know, pretty well. I was working. I did have a very comfortable, excellent government job when I got out. I mean, it's ridiculous how great that job was, but I had so many internal issues. I was hurting physically, mentally, spiritually. I walked away from that job, and that's when Cass King was already like, hey, what are you doing now? I said, I'm retired. I'm not doing anything. They said, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to actually work a little bit with us. And then now, obviously now my latest position, now I'm head of relationship management under for the entire Americas, North, South, Central, and South America and Europe. So, you know, yeah, it's super blessed to be in this position and doing what I do now. I never thought I'd be in the fishing industry. It wasn't even something I wanted to do.
Right.
You think you have a plan, and God laughs sometimes, you know. If it was up to me, I'd still be in the Army right now if it was still up to me. That's just telling the God honest truth. That's all I knew.
I made the joke the other day. A guy asked me if it was if I wanted to go back, and I was like, on Thursdays. And he kind of asked me, and I shook my head for a second. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, there are definitely days of the week that I want to go back, and there are things that I've missed for sure.
Sure it wasn't just Thursdays in Afghanistan for Sean's laughing. He knows what goes on Thursday.
See, that was a Monday in Iraq, so that was your good smell day.
Sean laughs because he knows what goes on Thursday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, no. So legitimately, you kind of had this unique coming out. You weren't necessarily planning on your transition, and then you found this passion kind of through fishing and through outdoors. That I don't know about you, but it almost you're mentioning how you didn't want to be alone with your thoughts. It's really hard not to be alone in your thoughts when you're sitting on a kayak, and you know, out in the middle of nowhere, and there's nobody else around, and you're by yourself. But it's something about, and I don't know if it's we're created this way, or if we're developed this way, or however you want to put it. But our body really has a way that when you put it in a state that is safe, peaceful, and resting, and heal. And I don't know if you found that, but that allowed me in that quiet place in my own thoughts to be able to transition.
No, 100%. I agree with you. You know, if you can't control your own thoughts, you can't control your mind, you're not in control of anything, you know? So that was a big part of my healing, is being able to control my mind, to get over that, not be so down, wham, 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 me, my PTSD, my depression, my me. I'm like, hey, you know, something's got to change. You got to get better, because you're really headed down a dark road. So yeah, you know, yeah, that it helps. And then now it's like, yeah, I prefer to be on my kayak by myself a lot of times. Get away
Right.
from the world.
A place that I can finally focus and get all my thoughts
Yeah,
out. That's really
exactly.
cool.
Where phone's not going off. All the craziness. Yeah, I can be out there and concentrate and get on some fish.
That's cool. That's cool. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to share your story with us, man, because we all have a different journey, and I really appreciate your specific take on it, because it's kind of that process of how we all come together. We learn from each other and develop as we
absolutely.
improve.
Absolutely. And I wish more veterans would do stuff like this, share their stories, get it out. Get it. You have to get it out. You have to get
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't let this stuff bottled up in your brain.
Let's Jay, let's ask you to kind of share a little bit of your background. We've heard quite a bit about Jose. I know you've got a unique story.
Well, I don't know if it's no more unique than anybody else. When you get, you get off that bus at basic training, I guess everybody's story is the same. And so, you just figure out at some point which direction you're going to go. But I was told by my dad. He said, if you're gonna go into something, go all in. Don't half step. Go all in. And my dad served in the military, but he was like in supply. I said, Dad, I don't want to do supply. I said, that ain't me. He said, well, then go get in the fight, and go do something that you want to do. So, I became a 13 Fox.
What does that mean?
Artillery. 13 Fox is a fort observer. It's a fort observer. We call in indirect fire. We have to know just about every system in the Air Force, Navy, Marines, you name it. We got to know everything about, all the enemy aircraft and everything. So it's a lot to process. You didn't realize it at the time, but that's a pretty cool process. But nonetheless, I went as a 13 Fox and in the 82nd Airborne Division. So that was a whole nother, process, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes for a living.
Right.
Is what we did. And but I was on the edge of doing things. So, but in this process, and we think about what we're here talking about today, but in this process, all of those things actually built an identity for me, right? I'm around a brotherhood. I'm around a safety. I'm around the people that, got your back 100% of the time. So you feel in this family more so than anything. And I think then I became a COLT NCO. A COLT NCO is a combat observation liaison team chief. We lazed targets and blew stuff up pretty much. It was I was 1st Brigade, support for 1st Brigade. A COLT team is a brigade asset. So I was for 1st Brigade. So that's how I came up. And then we was called a striker team. So that's how I ended up with the call sign
nickname.
Striker. Yeah. So that's exactly what it was. And my call sign was Striker 1 for 1st Brigade, and how I ended up with that. But I decided when I got out, I wanted to make sure I had something that connected me to, my brotherhood. And this brings me to what I'm about to, get into, is that, when I left the military, leaving the uniform wasn't the hard part. It was so much as leaving the lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you walk off a cliff. Like, Jose said, it's no more you get to go back through that gate again. It's no more, looking around. So you wondering, okay, what am I going through? What is this shock, really, that I'm having to deal with in this process of coming out, into a civilian world? I think some of those tough transitions for me was, it seemed like nobody around me in civilian life had a sense of urgency. It was just like people are just slow,
The pace is different.
They don't want to do anything. And I'm thinking, I got that gung ho mentality. Let's get it done. I'm up. I'm at it. So that's a hard part to leave when that's all you did was making sure you was on time. Everything was structured. So you lose that structure, and you listen to some of the things that, civilian people was talking about. You really almost feel like I'm around people, but I still feel isolated. And that's very frustrating, because you like, I'm here, but I'm not here.
Right. Right.
I'm not connecting to any of this stuff. And so you go away, right? you go away. Where can I find a space where I can get away from this? Because I don't want to be around it. But then when you get away from it, it's even worse.
Right.
Like, what is this happening? So it's a lot of a transition of feeling out of place coming into the civilian space, but I had to compartmentalize. Now, one of the blessings of this, when I left the military, I was able, I had a stepping stone. I left the military and joined the police academy.
Mm.
And so I didn't realize it at the time, but I believe God was looking out for me because he knew I'm gonna need some brothers around me and sisters at the time to be able to kind of see. So I actually went to become a DeKalb County police officer, and that really helped kind of occupy my mind space. You know, but it was a blessing and a curse because then, believe it or not, being in the military was, you knew who your enemies were.
Right.
You
Yeah.
you get what I'm
It
saying?
wasn't your neighbor either.
Is that the same for all of you guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Say what?
Yep.
That's pretty much
You knew where the bad guy was at all times.
Yeah, I mean, we had op orders. We knew exactly where we're going to strike, where we're going to jump in. All of that stuff was kind of, you know, part of the job. But when I transitioned into a police officer, the little old lady can be your enemy and you don't know it.
Right.
You know, and so you in that heightened alertness of awareness all the time. So, but it was still a transitioning process of coming out of that and going into another profession that really was even more so life or death
Right.
situations that I found myself in. But now, how did all this work with me fishing? My ability to grab that rod and reel was even multiplied at that point. Leaving the military, becoming a police officer. And I don't know if you understand that part of it. I worked morning watch. And a
Okay.
police officer, he worked morning watch. That's pretty much, you know, from 10 o'clock at night to 8 in the morning. It's when the bad guys come out to play, right?
Right.
But it was always tough you didn't know if you was coming home, no more than we knew, you know, in the military, but we did have a sense of, if it's not a conflict, we're not in a conflict, but every day was a conflict. So, but believe it or not, all of that kind of meshed with my leaving the military, falling into something that I had some structure, right? Because structure didn't exist in between that transition point, and that just drove me crazy. So I was able to move into one uniform to another and kind of ease that transition out into that world. But fishing, every time I had a chance to get to the water, just a simple peace would come over you, and a relaxation that says you can actually breathe. And you start to hear God's symphony of the water, the birds, and everything around you, and you start to go, this is where I'm connected to. You know?
Absolutely.
And
It creates a presentness.
yep,
Instead of all the stuff that we've done, all the stuff that we might have to face in the future, it allows us to come to right now
yep,
and just read a situation, and it's not a up or down, and it allows that. I mean, honestly, it's even a chemical process in your body. It allows your body to kind of come back to a natural state when you come into those kind of specific instances in your life, and that's what's so cool about it.
And I think one of the most important parts, and I wouldn't want to miss this, is every time you get a bite, every time I would get a bite, nothing else would matter in
Right.
life. Nothing wouldn't cross my mind. No, nothing. No anxiety. Nothing would cross my mind. It was just, at this point, I went to a whole new space. It's just me and this fish.
Right.
And you would continue to want to chase that. That became the drug because it
Right.
would take you away from so many other things of life. So I couldn't wait to get bit. I chased
Oh, yeah.
that fight every time.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of those things that really helped me get to that point to say, yeah, this is what I want to do. And fast forward today, I'm a professional bass angler. So that's what I get to chase, you know, my dream and my goal. So it's part of that. But this transition back into civilian life was probably one of the toughest, and I can relate that. And I say to anybody on this whole podcast, or you know somebody that's doing that transition, being alone is not the best way forward. Being together is. We had,
Mm-hmm.
always take your ranger buddy with you, everywhere you go. And when you get out, you don't have that ranger buddy, but it's important that we make that opportunity to reach out to these veterans. And, if they got VFWs around and other counterparts, to lean on those who've been there, because, hey, we need you. You're
Right.
wanted, and we want to make sure that you're going to be, well taken care of, and we're here for you. You can reach out to me anytime. Go to jstriker.com. You can find me anywhere, and I promise you, I'll take you out fishing. I'll do whatever we have to do if you need that breakaway and find that peace. So yeah, no problem. Reach out to me.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Jay.
No
I
doubt.
mean, legitimately, that's how it is. And that's honestly, with this whole show, I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to show not only kind of the general struggle, because I'm trying to figure out a way to say this without with keeping it pretty PG, but there's a certain smell about certain things in life, and when something's real bad, it basically you can't get to a worse smell. And so I kind of relate trauma and experiences and military stuff like that, and police trauma and all those things kind of into that smell. And so we get to a point where it doesn't really matter what necessarily led directly to your specific smelling circumstance, but it gives us that opportunity that it really does allow you to connect with somebody when you start working through these processes and developing skills to kind of help move on and move to the next step in your journey. So I really appreciate you sharing yours.
No problem.
Colonel, I'd like to ask you next if you'd share kind of your background and kind of Army bass anglers a little bit and what you guys do.
So, like Jay there, I'm an 80-second junkie. Jay and I see each other a couple of times a year, and we always gotta, make sure we point that out to each other. But my dad he's a retired Alabama State Trooper, and he told me he did 27 years in Alabama State Trooper, and he said, "I don't want you to have to do that." So I basically said, "Here, hold my beer," and went and
Right.
joined the military. But I came in as a second lieutenant. But I talk to people all the time. I was a senior class in college when 9/11 happened, and so I knew, like, as soon as that happened, like, I was going to be the first group of lieutenants since Vietnam that knew that they were going to war immediately. And so you talk about having your world, like, at 22 years old, turned upside down.
Right.
It's a pretty sobering deal for it, and knowing that you're going to the 82nd Airborne Division, and the history behind that, and just what's expected to get there. And so that's how I started my career. Worked with a lot of guys, and glad to have guys like Jay and Jose on the field artillery side of the house, because they ain't nothing when you're a 26-year-old captain and you're in a firefight, and you got somebody that you can hand those aircraft over, and you get that fire distribution center putting rounds where they need to go.
Oh yeah.
They make your life a lot easier. But what that means is, I say that my story and talk about what the military did. There's a meme that I always go back to. There's a guy sitting on a Humvee in Afghanistan with a flak jacket on, with a hand mic up to his ear, and says, "Realizing I will never be this cool ever again in my life.
This is the coolest I get." Yep.
This is the coolest I get." And I'm sure, like, everybody has that same feeling when you get out and walk away. I mean, I talk to people all the time. I'm like, when you tell people, like, the movies don't do a good job at telling how young the soldiers are or the lieutenants are. I mean, I was 23 years old the first time I was shot at. And I remember my platoon sergeant coming to me, my 3 squad leaders coming to me, and my platoon sergeant, who ironically we bonded over fishing, Todd Roman, To this day, that's still what we call each other, talk about. He comes and he says to me, "Hey, sir, what you want to do now? This is where you get paid the big bucks." And I always tell people the irony of all that was everybody I was looking at was all older than I was.
Right.
And so that's the part that when we talk about the things that we've been asked to do, the things that we do, and that adrenaline that we've done. I mean, jumping out of airplanes, I mean, being in firefights, the things that we saw downrange. I mean, that's just like living the life. It's the scariest, but the most fun that you've ever had in your entire life. It is hard to explain to people that, right? So when you come back, when you come back here to the United States and you're asked to go be a normal human being like everybody else, like that is such a hard thing to do, right? And I say this all the time, and so that's why my story is not any different. I think we all struggle with this, and I talk about just my deal is like I just call that the dopamine addiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'll just say that's one reason I love the fish so much, because it's the only thing that I can find that comes close to giving me anything of that release like I had.
That momentary excitement of that bite and that fight. That is definitely the cool thing about fishing when you get into it.
Well, it's not just, it's the whole, like, we're taught for our entire time in the military to work a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Given a mission set and to work a problem. It's like Jay said, you know who the enemy is. And because you know who the enemy is, you know how to work that problem. You know the end state, and you work towards that. When you get back here in the civilian world, it's all over the place, and you don't have it. And being in the water, that the minute you put the right bait, the right lure selection, right rod, the right color, the right spot, all these things, right? It's like that whole thing like comes together, just kind of like the perfect scenario operation. Is like, and that's when everything just makes sense to you, like it did when you were deployed downrange, right?
Absolutely. The formula works. Your mission plan works.
And so that's the thing when we talk about like what I did, and I could talk for hours, and I've got some pretty unique stories and some of the things that I've done. I know you and I have talked about it, Matt, and I've done some pretty high level missions, but that's nothing compared to, like, you know, being with my guys and all that, and just all that togetherness. For me, getting out of the military, the most sobering thought, I'll never forget this. I was on my terminal leave, and the first man who ever took me fishing besides my dad, my dad took me fishing, but back then we didn't have high school fishing like we do now, right? So like to go fishing with anybody besides your dad was like a big deal growing up, right?
Right.
So this is, and he passed away, and I remember my dad calling me and telling me he passed away. And Jerry was a Marine, and always was very involved in my career and always kept up with it. I remember telling my wife that I have to, you know, when my dad calls me back and tells me when the funeral is, I'm going to just have to take off and go. It's about 4 hours back home. And so the next morning, my dad calls after we drop our son off at school, and he says the viewing's tonight, funeral's tomorrow. So I called my wife at work, and I said, hey, I got to leave. So I went home, packed my clothes. I got almost to Nashville, which is about halfway between here and North Alabama. And I realized for the first time in 22 years, the only person I had to tell where I was going was my wife. And that was the most overwhelming
sensation.
Yes, because for 22 years, even when you were in charge, you had to tell this whole list of people that were there. So those are the things, like when we talk about like the transition, the getting out, why it's so hard for us, the lack of the dopamine released, all these things that add up to the things that we struggle with. Like the worst thing for me is everything to be going like perfectly 100%, like absolutely no problems to work like whatsoever, because my brain is not happy.
Right. You were looking for the problem.
You're looking for the problem, and just to realize all these things. But fishing has played such a huge role for me. How I've been fishing my whole life. It's probably what helped me sustain making it to the end of my military career, because any of us that tell you it's done a long time in the military, it's not an easy profession to operate for that long and that long particularly. It's also what helped me build my bond back with my son. I left when he was 2 months old to go to Afghanistan, and then I come back and he's 18 months old. And so, that first part of his life, like, that's all we did, from that point forward was we spent time on the water fishing and everything else. And so that's those things, and being able to get involved. I mean, that's one of my favorite things was being able to be a major at the 101st and having a guy tell me about Warriors on the Water at Fort Bragg. He said, love this deal. And I started laughing. He was like, what's funny? And I go, well, that's me and 4 of the guys helped start that when I was a senior lieutenant. And so even though I wasn't there anymore, know that I had helped build something that got to give back to so many soldiers out there in the water. And it's led
awesome.
to getting to do what I do now with Army bass anglers. I mean, I say all the time, I tell high school kids that if I had not taken a command in the 82nd Airborne Division, and I'm sure, Jay, you get asked, how do I get to do this, do what you get to do, right? And I tell high school, I'm like, look, I'm here today because I commanded a company in the 82nd Airborne Division. And I got to go to grad school and got to do college fishing and got to meet some guys in the industry. And I would have never got to do that if it hadn't been for that command in the 82nd Airborne Division. And I said, you can't duplicate that anywhere else. And so as hard as it is, I'm forever grateful. Every decision that I have been good in my life, it goes back to that decision to command that company in the 82nd Airborne Division.
That's cool.
Today. And so
that's cool.
And just to see everybody else that's impacted along the way. I mean, to meet people, to meet all you guys. I mean, I didn't know Jose like about 9 or 10 months ago, and got to, he and I have been interacting different places, different times, and all these things. So it's all good. I enjoy meeting the people, and it's good to hear us talk about these things, because I think as Jay said, Jose said, we've got to get these things out. And I say this all the time. If me as a retired lieutenant colonel can talk about that I struggle with things, and I'll say this out here publicly, I had a minimum once a month I go to counseling, right? And if I can do that, there's no reason everybody else can't, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's
absolutely.
I'll kind of end with that. I think if I can have enough courage to do that, it gives other guys the courage to do that. For sure.
And I really appreciate you saying that, because I think that's part of the biggest thing in our community is we all have a lot of common struggles, but we put a lot of shame behind picking up the need for help ourselves. We helped our battle buddy. We picked up slack for other people for years, but we forget a lot of times that, we're the number one weapon in our fight. So you keep your weapon well maintained, so that way when it comes to the fight, you're ready to fight. And part of that is keeping your mind and your body ready to go. So I really appreciate you mentioning the whole counseling part, because that really is a huge aspect in it.
Matt, I think I agree. I think thank you for sharing that, Sean. I think for men in general, I think all men struggle with that, because I think it goes back to a previous generation. I think we were taught as men, we don't show our emotions, we don't cry, it's a sign of weakness, you keep that shit in. And I think what we've created is this society of men that, like, this is why we have a lot of the struggles that we have, because we keep it all bottled in until we can't keep it in anymore, and we ruin our lives. We cause ourselves all sorts of unnecessary stress, because we are, right? We're just taught that way.
Right.
I think we're starting to see a change, and And it's, you know, it's one man at a time. And I think just the courage to raise your hand and just be like, I need some help, because I got to put the oxygen mask on myself first, because how can I be a better father, a better husband, a better, you know, whatever, boss, it doesn't matter if I'm only taking care of part of myself. And so,
Correct.
yeah.
I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, and I've spent myself, I don't know, I've spent hundreds of hours in counseling, and still continuously. I just spent a whole 2-week thing, actually out towards Rick's direction at UCLA for a traumatic brain injury, and a whole portion of that was counseling based and functional neurology, and it's such a big part of it. I don't want to say asking for help, because in all honesty, it's admitting that you don't have every tool and you haven't received every bit of training you can receive, and it's the desire to get better. So I don't know, that's a cool thing. I appreciate it. And yeah, so
and what I might add is having the courage, Matt, I might speak out of turn and say something that I shouldn't, but like having the courage to seek out that counseling and bring your partner into it, right? She said to me at dinner, with Matt going through what he was going through and me participating in it, gave me so much more compassion for the struggles in which he's having. And
correct.
It's brought us tighter together, because I've now been enlisted in this so that I can be part of the solution instead of an outsider looking in going, why is my husband going through all this stuff?
I mean, honestly, that is so key. So we're not designed to be alone. I think the commonality story that I've heard, and we'll probably hear something similar from Chauncey. Sorry to stand on top of you right now. But it's that we can't do this battle alone. And there's going to be days where we need the hug. There's going to be days when we need the kick in the pants to get our butt going. There's going to be days when you know, in my case, sometimes I just can't do stuff, and I have to rely on my wife. And so having that partner, that ability to share that with, and for her having that understanding and really understanding what was going on, was such a huge aspect in our relationship. So that was really cool. And yeah, so Chauncey, let's get to you, buddy, because I mean, you probably have, I don't know, in my opinion, the wildest MOS in the entire military. Your job is, I think, the number 1 or 2 school fail rate in the military, if I remember right.
Yes, I was infantry, 11 Bravo. But before I jump into my story, I want to say what brought me to Monster Bass in the first place before I jump into my story. Back when Rick started Monster Bass, I had different subscription boxes coming to my house, like multiple. And when Monster Bass first started, I got, I believe, the first or second box ever. And I got it and I turned it to the side when I was looking at the box. And the box said that the company supports veterans. I said, wow, this is awesome. Like, this truly, truly hits me. Yep, exactly, right there. And he has put it on every single box that he ever made on a box that came to everyone's door. And man, that to me says more than anything about other companies. If you're willing to put that as your part of your logo on your something that you're making to send it to someone's house, I'm telling you, that speaks volumes. And thank you, Rick.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I mean, like, I don't say it just to say it. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, I live in California, and you know, just putting an American flag on my house has become synonymous with a political affiliation instead of a respect for this country. And I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care what anyone's political views are. I can care less. But I have an immense love for this country, and I'm grateful for everybody that's served, because the fact that I get to sit here in my backyard and do whatever the hell I want is because of you guys. And so it's very, very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to say to you, Rick. I mean, I really appreciate that ever since day one that you've been doing this. And, you know, I consider you a great friend for it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cotton.
Okay, now my speech. Got a little sidetracked there. But when I grew up, me and my dad fished, and I was very young. I was only 5 years old when I realized he was taking me fishing. And at that time, he had a bass boat, and he was super proud of that thing. And I started learning how to actually fish from a boat. I didn't fish from a bank for an extremely long time. I didn't even know that you could fish from a bank. I thought you could only fish from a boat. That's how young I was. But my dad was in the Army too. He was 11 Bravo, an infantry guy, just like me. And, you know, I feel like I followed in his footsteps because he was infantry, he fished, and I think it was literally felt like it was my destiny to follow in his footsteps. So I joined a little bit later in life because I felt like I was trying to fight the system because both my parents were in the military, and I didn't at first want to join. So I fought that until I was about 21, and then I just like, you know what? I feel like a loser living at the house. So
Time to go.
yeah, time to go. I was like, all right, stop trying to fight it, just go. So yeah, I was 21. That was a little bit later in my life, but yeah, I did. I went in 21. I did 21 years in the Army as 11 Bravo. I did 4 deployments to Iraq, 1 to Egypt as a peacekeeping mission, and I was on the border mission here in Texas right before I got out. So that was my tours that I did. While I was in, it felt like fishing and in the military was just intertwined like that. It was crazy because every duty station that I went to, which I was stationed at Fort Riley, the Big Red One, there in Kansas. That was my duty station. I'd fish at Lake Milford, and I remember watching Bassmasters come through there every year to fish the lake, and I would go there as an attendant, and I was just like blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, why can't I do this and stuff like this? And you know, I just fished when I could because the Army always came first. And then I got stationed over in Hawaii, and I started fishing there for a little bit, mostly saltwater. And then every once in a while, they actually had peacock bass. So I'd fish there right outside of Schofield. They call it Schofield Barracks there in Hawaii. It's the 25th Infantry there. And I loved Hawaii, man. Living right next to the water, oh my gosh. That's a dream.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
But I fished there, and then I came here to Texas, where I live now, and I got stationed at Fort Hood. So the local lakes here were Belton and Stillhouse, and I started fishing there. And then I got involved with the bass clubs and stuff here, and I said, you know what? It's about time for me to buy a boat. So I bought a boat, and I started fishing out of that for many, many years. And there was a Fishing for Freedom event that was on Belton basically every single year. And you take a veteran out to fish. So I said, and for years, I was always the secondary passenger because I was a veteran. And then when I got my boat, I started taking other veterans fishing. I felt good about that. Even though I was a veteran myself, I started taking them out during the event. And that was just so. I felt good about that, even though I was a veteran, because it's like I was giving back to someone that had
Right.
never experienced that at all. And that was an outlet for that person that I was taking fishing, even though it was an outlet for me, and I felt good that I was taking another veteran fishing. So it was, that camaraderie was still there, and I love that. And I started getting in the kayak fishing a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a totally different experience than
Right.
being in the boat. So I started doing that, and I was towards the end of my career in the Army, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life once I get out? And I was like getting scared. So I finished up my degree because I started it while I was in, and I wanted to be a game warden, actually. So here in Texas, for Texas Parks and Wildlife, to be a game warden, you had to have your bachelor's degree. So I finished my degree. I applied for game warden actually 4 times. They only do it only comes around once a year to apply. So I did it 4 years in a row, and I got turned down all 4 times. I was super, super discouraged. I was like, this is crazy. With my background, I don't know why I couldn't get in. But I said, you know what? I'm going to stop trying for that. And I turned my sights to work in the state parks. So I became a park ranger at one of the state parks right outside Austin here. Well, I did that for about a year and a half, and I just landed one of the best job in the world.
What is it?
Seriously, with Texas Parks and Wildlife. I just transferred over 2 months ago as the boater safety training specialist. So I teach boaters ed. So I'm just super excited about my position now. So I just, it's just crazy how the Army and fishing intertwined just led me.
I'll lead you. Yep.
How has it helped you, Chauncey? How's fishing helped you assimilate back into civilian life?
I do a lot of fishing tournaments. So when I'm doing these tournaments, when I did it on the boat and did it in kayak still, that competitiveness and camaraderie that you get when you're at tournaments, it feels like I'm a part of something again, just like I was in the military in a close knit group. And that's what and I'm sure all the rest of these guys can relate to that. You have this tight knit group and you just feel like you're buddies again, and that's what you miss the most. It truly is. It's not about, these other things that people talk about. It's, man, if you don't have that camaraderie in that tight group, you're lost in life as a veteran. You really are.
Well,
absolutely.
You truly want to be a part of something that you miss. And that's what I really feel that it really connects me back to being a part of something.
When you guys, and I'll throw this out to the group, but when you guys take a vet fishing for the first time, do they instantly feel it? Like, what do you guys notice when you take a guy out on the water who's suffering from PTSD and you take him fishing?
He forget about his day-to-day. I noticed that right off.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like that childlike taking a kid out for the first time that open a present up on Christmas morning, and that's the excitement and joy that they've missed for so long. And I think that's why I enjoy. I'm sure all these guys. I enjoy taking those guys out and watching their expressions, their face, because of what you said. Rick, asking that piece, like, what can you see it almost instantly? That's the look you see. Is that you, it's almost like they go back in time and become a kid again.
For sure.
And I think you hit on a good point there. Is when I take a veteran, and a lot of times when I take a veteran, they bring their son or their daughter with them, and watching their kids see their parent light up is
Mm,
like an amazing adventure. So it just, fires you up too to say, let's go put you on some fish. Let's go, keep this
right.
moment going for them, because this is where you're really making that impact in that actual, it's not outreach at that point, it's in reach. And when we're there, and
Hmm.
it's amazing watching that transition. So that is that energy. You see the energy shift. It's amazing how that happens when we're on the water.
That is for sure. Sean, I don't know if you want to mention about Fishing for Freedom, Texas, but I think you're pretty familiar with that event that Chauncey was talking about.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll just say there's 4 or 5 Fishing for Freedom events around the country, and anytime anybody gets to be a part of them, I tell go be a part of them. We happen to run the one at Belton, and love having everybody that's a part of it. I mean, the stories you hear that come from that, and this wasn't so much a vet. I'll share this one. This was pretty cool. We had a 16-year-old kid drove 4 hours to take a veteran fishing. I mean, I was like so impressed by this kid that he thought enough to do that for a veteran was just an awesome deal. And I think that's when I think about all of them. I think it's not just it's that we see the best of everybody, from the boaters to the veterans, when we do these events. And I think that's what is so cool about the fishing world just in general. When we do these events, it brings out and it just lowers the anxiety level, because you see stories like that. I mean, I couldn't just narrow it down. I wouldn't want to just promote the one in Texas, because I say this all the time. There's not enough of these events around the country
Agreed.
to do it. We need that. I just
Man.
say that there's I've done the one at Truman. They're good friends of mine. Hopefully I would love to bring the one back at Fort Bragg. I mean, that's I would love to get that one back up and going. I mean, I just think that we need more of these events out there, and I think that's just a big deal. I think it's a huge deal. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. I would ask this question to everybody, and I would throw this out there. I always thought it was unique for us being in the military, was how cool it was, all the different places we got to fish throughout our careers.
Oh, for sure.
Did y'all ever think about that? And like, that's
Yeah.
something that we kind of like take for granted, that being in the military, like when we talk about how it's intermingled and intertwined together. I mean, I know, Jay, you're just not stationed in one place. So when we were growing up, you didn't take long trips,
Right. I
You're
think-
talking about special places. I actually got 2 really special places that, because of the military, I got to fish. The first one was actually Saddam's palace.
Aha.
Yeah.
So he had that.
Fish
He
there.
had his palace, and there was a kind of like a U-shaped lake around it, and they had all
Mhm.
the palaces around it. Well, I got to fish it, and lo and behold, the fish I did catch was a carp. And there is a pretty sinister story from those carp, if you guys actually look that up.
Oh,
But short story on that. Basically, the people they would kill during that time frame, they would throw in that lake.
That was
and,
carp food.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So found that out after I caught him, but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's one of the coolest places I got to fish. And the second was actually I got to go into Israel when I was in Egypt, and I got to fish on the Sea of Galilee.
Oh, that would be cool.
Oh, wow.
That was like very cool. I got to fish the actual traditional way with the net, throwing it over the side of a wooden boat, and I was just like grinning from ear to ear. I was just so happy that I got to do something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I figured, Rick, they might like to hear some of the cool places that we get to fish that not normally everybody gets to fish like that.
Yeah. I mean, even Ralph in the chat's like, yeah, I fished there too. And I'm like, wait, everybody fished it.
MWR room where you can go grab a Zebco and some bait and go fish at a lot of these places. Like I fished on Fob Calsu, and then at Fob Delta was right on the Tigris River.
Yeah.
So you would walk right out to the water treatment facility where we pull water in out of the river, and you could fish right there.
Sorry, guys, the dogs are losing their shit. I mean,
But yeah, no, there's all sorts of crazy spots. Anybody else have some fun ones? Any other wild countries?
I remember fishing. It wasn't really. We went through Japan and we went to Guam, and I got an opportunity to really enjoy some really good fishing out there and deal with the Guam people and really eat some authentic cuisine out there. It was really cool to do that. And so, yeah, there's been some pretty good, but bringing it full circle and back home, I think Alaska, when I was stationed there for 3 years or so, that was the best. That almost ruined me of bass fishing. Period.
I can imagine.
It almost ruined me of bass fishing. Everything, what they say happens there, happens. So.
Oh yeah.
Did you fish the Kenai?
Yes.
I
the
went
Russian
up there.
River.
Yeah, I went up there and fished the Kenai. That is a beautiful area. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I remember my first jump out of an aircraft up there was a Chinook, and literally we landed in 12 feet of snow. And you want to talk about landing like a pillow? The best landing I ever had. Swear to God.
Crazy.
So, but it was, been in the Yukon and all those places. Like I said, the military really broadens your experience. And I think when we loop that back to when we leave that life, we're actually missing a lot of those things too, that just civilian world ain't going to provide you.
There's no opportunity.
Right. There's just this, you just ain't going to pack up and go that way. So, but I know one of the trips I did make, and I bring this into it, is that when I PCS from Alaska back to Fort Bragg, I decided to drive from Alaska to Fort Bragg.
Wow.
And just a journey of a trip.
Man.
And I'm not going to get into all the in-betweens and all the things I did, but I had a great time.
Oh, I can imagine.
Just that was one of the fun parts. But like I say, those are experiences that you get to now do. You did then because you knew later on you might not get that opportunity to enjoy those. So those are some of the things you can reflect back on and say, I really wished, I had done something, or I'm glad I did something. So that is one of those things that, we're able to be part of.
Right. That's really cool. Yeah, no, I've always wanted to fish Alaska. That's one that's on my bucket list for sure, is to go up to the Kenai and catch Chinook and what all. There's several species in there, but yeah, just that would be amazing.
Well, they call it combat fishing up there. They call it combat fishing, especially on the Russian River. Everybody's shoulder to shoulder, and when you're casting, if somebody get hooked up, everybody. Down the line or up the line, I think it's down the line, have to move their lines out of the way because the salmon swim upstream. So when you cast you got to cast upriver and let your bait kind of bounce down to the fish that are coming upstream. So when you link up, that's where they're going. They're not going downstream, they're going upstream. So you have to be kind of in that mindset of, fishing totally different, but it is a whole lot of fun.
That is cool. That is cool.
I did a charter up there while I was up there. When I did the Kenai, I did a charter to go get halibut, and halibut is like flounder here in the lower part of the U.S. But like this halibut, dude, they could get like 300 pounds.
I was gonna say they're huge.
Yeah, they're huge, and the meat on them are like that thick.
Yes.
And I went out there and we were fishing, and we were using 5-pound weights, and we were just throwing out there and just letting it sink. It was like 300 feet deep.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy. And we were pulling these halibut up, and then one came up that was bitten in half. I was like, is that a shark? And they're like, no. I was like, what is that? They're like, it's probably killer whales. I was like, you're kidding me, right?
Oh wow.
And lo and behold, here they come up to the surface, and it was killer
Yep.
whales eating them
Yeah.
from the bottom as soon as we hooked them. It was crazy.
Yep. That's Alaska
That's-
for you.
That is so cool, guys. Oh man, that is incredible. Jose, you got a story of fishing while you were in? I know you spent several years in. I think you started more after you were in the military, though, right?
More towards the end, initially after when my father passed, because he's the one that got me into fishing, I didn't pick up a rod and reel for years. And I think I was so heavily in on, mission first type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I got into a team where we did a lot of TDY, like a ton of TDY, and a lot of it sometimes, depending on the equipment, we had to travel. Like my government travel card was never off because it just had to be at the drop of a hat. Submit your detail,
Right.
You got to go. And so when we would drive our government vehicles, our government rigs, we would take off. Of course, we get to where we need to go. Now, government Army travel regulations, you can only drive like X amount of hours a day, and you have to stop. So depending whoever my teammate was, we would plan coming back all the places we can stop and fish. So like we'd have to, because you have to stop every 2 hours. You have to take a break. So we would plan that out. We would go all the way through Colorado, stop and fish. There was one time I saw the signs that said National Park Service, this and that, and he was like, "Do you think we should fish here?" I was like, "Man, we're in the GSA, and they're not going to say anything to us." We stopped, and National Parks and Services pulled up on us, and they're like, "We were just wondering what's going on. We saw the government plates. We were like, oh, we're just goofing off over here." They're like, "All right, you guys are good." We're like, "Yeah, we're good." And it was like, "You're not going to catch anything on spinning gear. You got to get some fly gear." And I was like, "All right." He took off, and I caught a beautiful. It was my first ever brookie. It was beautiful, and I was like, "Where is that MFer? I want to show him that I can get it in."
Right. I can catch it on spinning gear.
Yeah, that was funny. That was me and another buddy, and we would literally throughout Texas, Colorado and back, and we would always plan it like we were fishing the entire time. So it was funny. They'd come out and check our trucks, and they'd be like, "Oh, you guys got rods and reels?" We're like, "Oh, Yeah, that's why I break. That's when I got comfortable, even with like a 2-piece combo. You put it away.
Right.
I used to be against it, but you get a quality one. Hey, they're perfect for a truck combo.
Oh yeah. I've been running actually a couple of years. I think I got one from you at the Classic, and it's been, just kind of one of those where I can break down and throw in the back seat of the truck, and when I roll next to something, I'm like, "Yep, let's go fishing."
Yeah. So even if we get on location, and be like, we'd be on federal land or whatever, and they'd be like, "Hey, you kind of need to. We're not ready for you guys yet to start your test." And we're like, "All right." And then we come back there. "Where'd you guys go?" I was like, "Oh man, I
Found some more.
set up." I was like, "I found a bunch of ponds in this area," and they're like, "All right, as long as we're not in the impact zones or anything." I mean, even on Fort Sill, whatever, the fishing's good near those impact zones. You'd be all right.
Right. Just don't kick anything metal sticking out of the ground.
No.
And I shouldn't even mention that, the ponds on Fort Sill, man, those are hidden gems.
Oh, those are sneaky good.
Hidden gems.
There's more 10-pounders on Fort Sill than anybody knows about. So if you're listening here and you're the military guy on Fort Sill, go fish those. Oh, it's a closed base, so I don't think you can even get on. Like, it's hard as crap to get on, even as a retiree type base. Like, you can get to the PX and stuff, but on Trade Ox side,
there's over 100 ponds, and they used to be maintained by biologists throughout the 80s. But the ones that people can easily see and know, those aren't the ones you want to fish. They're the ones, the hidden gems, and the ones that are there. Yeah, takes a little bit of research, a little bit of talking, but
I was gonna say you have to sneak around a few grenade ranges and a few mortar ranges and a few major impact zones to get there.
The UXO, don't touch it.
Yeah, just don't kick the fins. But that's cool. Well, I really, really appreciate you guys all taking some time. This was a lot of fun tonight. I mean, let's see if the audience has some questions for you guys. Is anybody in the audience?
I'm in the audience. I have a question.
Okay. Oh, Rick's got questions too.
All right. So if I'm sitting in the chat and I'm like, you know what? I would love to help out. I would love to you know, help other vets get out on the water, you know, be a part of something, what do I do?
All started. So a lot of times veterans, they want to start their own nonprofit. They want to do it, and that's fine. But there are so many out there already that are established. You know, if you're like in the Oklahoma area, obviously Warriors for Freedom. That's how I met Matt, was at a Fishing for Freedom out here. So there's a lot of local organizations now. As far as a nationwide, you got to hit up Sean and Army Bass Anglers. They're all over the place. And even though it says Army Bass Anglers, I know he'll say it's everything. Don't be scared by it because it's Army. They have the Marine hunting and all that. There's also Heroes on the Water. They have chapters all over the United States. But really look into your local nonprofits, because obviously they've got the resources already set up in your area. You know, but then on a national level, yeah, there are the bigger ones or that you can look into. But definitely look into the nonprofits, because the nonprofits, the ones that are doing good and doing right, they need all the help that they can get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I know it may not be veteran focused, but look at your local bass clubs.
Yeah.
Just get out there on the water and be with a group of guys if you're a veteran, and connect with people that you love to do is fish, and that connection is going to make you feel so much better that you're a part of something. So just get out there, look online, just type in local bass clubs in your area, and literally they'll pop up.
Yeah, sometimes you can check with like state agencies, because like they'll have like some events throughout the years, and they're looking for volunteers to help out, to take people fishing. So like, you know, the Parks and Wildlife or the game, you know, the fishing game of whatever particular state, they'll do events throughout the year. And you know, so as I already mentioned, there's many others like the Fallen Outdoors, good buddies of mine. They do a lot of good stuff. And they have different chapters throughout the United States, and that's why I say you never know like where you're going to find a place to fit in. But the bass clubs really are a good way to get out there, and because if you have a boat, I mean, and you know that you got a veteran that really needs that's a good way to get a co-angler to be in the bass club right there. I mean, that's the easiest, simplest way at the lowest level to really make a difference right there.
Yep.
I'll say another good source that, you know, may not be looked up on, but they do have a lot of contacts, is your local VFW.
Yeah.
Those guys in there really are connected to a lot of different places. So I would say to anybody listening, you know, check there too. And, you know, of course your DNRs, they all kind of all connected to, you know, places where, you know, you can get on the water or be able to go out. So you'll be surprised. I know that I, you know, fishing with Heroes, Leos, and vets that I do, my second seat is always open for a vet, you know, or my third seat or whatever. So again, if you guys anywhere in Georgia or in the Southeast, you know, my seat's always open. So I want to let everybody know that well, let's go fishing. So
absolutely. That's awesome. I did want to mention one more thing for kind of veteran resource. So we kind of all chatted about counseling and whatnot. And if you really are struggling, one of the best ones out there that I've found that's pretty accessible and just easy, doesn't require you going into your local VA, is the Wounded Warrior Projects. They've got what's called TALK. And their resource center is a great place to reach out. If you have if you need that medical help or that mental health support, they have what they call the Warrior Care Network, which really helps line you up with getting you what you need to get you healthy again.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the Cohen Veterans Network also is another one. I'm on the advisory panel for them. It's in their paperwork. If you need help, you will have someone call you for an intake within 24 to 48 hours. And that's nationwide. That's not only for you, but that's also for your wife, your kids, anyone that is considered family. So in the Cohen Veterans Network is another great resource that I'd like to add. And that's been implemental. I had a battle buddy unfortunately became part of the 22, and I was needing help very, very, very bad. And not to bash the VA, not to, but it was, I needed help now. And they just kept saying, we'll call you back. We'll call you back. We'll call you back. And I know everyone here knows when those hellhounds start barking, sometimes the bark gets really freaking loud. And so I got in touch with someone that put me in touch with the con, and within an hour, they called me back and had me already start the intake process of starting to go through and get the help that I needed. And that was remote too, because I was just very in a bad place. And so it was just, hey, let's talk. And they did great things for me. And that's why I'm super blessed with that they invited me to be on their advisory panel this year.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, I would be remiss if I didn't say one thing that I think I find going across the country that I always find unique too is the number of people out there that haven't applied for their VA benefits. So guys, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't applied for your VA benefits, go apply for them. You deserve it.
Absolutely.
I'll share a story real quick. I had a guy come up to me in Western Oklahoma, an event we were at this past August. And him and his wife came to me. He said, I came back to see me because a year ago you gave me the courage to go get my my VA benefit. He was an 82nd guy like me and Jay were, and he just didn't think he deserved it. Right. If you served, you deserve it. It's something you're leaving on the table. And the VA doesn't do a really good job messaging you to apply for your benefits if you don't apply for them when you leave service. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't put that message out here to say, hey, that's help, but it's also money if you qualify for disability that you're leaving on the table. And there's education benefits. I've got 2 kids in college right now that are getting free tuition and things like that. And so each state does such a great job taking care of their vets if you go through and do the process. And a lot of times, if you have trouble, there's all the VSOs, the Veteran Service Organizations, where it's the VFW, the DAV. It all depends on where you live. There's a multitude of them out there that'll help you through the process. You don't have to do it alone out there. So I think that's such a huge deal, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say that.
Absolutely. And honestly, I mean, what got me right out of the military into a house was the fact that I had my VA loan. So don't be afraid to use your benefits for sure, because I mean, you signed on the dotted line and raised your right hand, and you did solemnly swear to do and uphold. And so guess what? This was part of that deal as well. And so don't feel bad about receiving the benefits that are allowed for you based on what you signed up to do.
You guys find that, is this a thing?
It really is. It really is, Rick. Rick,
Wow.
I worked with a guy that was he was a Vietnam vet, and he didn't believe that he deserved his benefits. And I convinced him finally to go in, and he went into the VA, and he actually got 70% when he actually went in. And I said, dude, just think about all that time, that whole gap, once you got out to now, that you have 70% of all the money that you left on the table. And VA, healthcare and all this stuff. He literally just left it on the table.
It's a mental stigma, Rick, because people think wounds are visible. And I mean, a lot of us our stuff is not a visible wound. I mean, when all of us hurt, I mean, I'm sure Jay, when you wake up in the bed in the morning, when you jumped out of as many airplanes as me and Jay have, you have to motivate yourself to turn around and get on the side of the bed. The pain you're still going to feel. And so there's a part of that is I don't have any visible scars. And so the mentality of they think that they don't deserve to apply for them because they're not visible scars. And so it's a really real thing. So that story I shared about the gentleman, I mean, he got 90% out the first time out. And he really felt like the first time I talked to him that he did not deserve to go do it. And I mean, that story is repeated over and over across. I'm sure every one of us could name 10 or 15 people we've talked to that's happened to.
Wow.
Yep.
Here, I want to put this phone number in the chat, guys. And Rick, I don't know posted on the screen. This is the VA benefits line. I have it memorized because I've had to call it so many times and sit there and listen to it. But in all honesty, that is the number to call to start your disability benefits. This is the number to call to get your verification for VA home loan. This is the number that 100% of your benefits run through this right here. And give them a call and in all honesty, start and say that you have a desire to put what is the term? I'm trying to remember this. It's called a notice to file.
Yeah, notice to file is correct.
And you do that right now. It locks today in and gives you 12 months to get all of the process started to even file your claim. Okay, so just because you haven't filed a claim or you don't have all your paperwork, call them today. It locks it in today. So when they start your back pay process, it goes back to today. So yeah, just a little tip and trick.
And I'll say one more, like if anybody ever needs help or anything, like reach out to me or anybody, one of the Army Bass Angler guys. I'm sure any one of the guys on the live stream here will help you. I mean, because we'll point you in the right direction. Because
absolutely.
I mean, I'll tell you what we did, and like I said, I used the DAV, but that's who was good around here, and I didn't do it alone out there. But I also know different places have different VSOs that are better than others depending on where you're located at. So just people's subject matter expertise in the area for different VSOs tend to be different. So I don't recommend one over the other. That's why I like to put that out there.
They're all just about as equally able to assist you. It is on you to make sure that you list everything and don't be shy because we're all pretty banged up. I like what Sean said. It's hard to roll out of bed sometimes to get that motivation in the morning. I had a MRI recently, and they were talking about L1 injuries, and he asked me how many planes I jumped out of, and I was like, I don't know, enough.
All right, guys, we got a couple calls coming in, so I'm going to take those calls and see what questions they have for you guys. Go ahead, Ralph.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Rick? Oh, what's up, John? Good to see you, good sir.
Yep.
No.
Tell them who you are, because no one can tell by your voice besides me.
So I was a guy in the chat there, Army Outdoors, but
Yeah.
really was Ralph Boyd.
Yeah.
I'm still in 24 years and going. I'm an 88 November Transportation Management Coordinator. Currently working in the Pentagon as an Inspector General.
Wow.
I much like Sean and Jay there, I'm also an 82nd veteran. I was in 1st Brigade from 2011 to 2014, and we went to Afghanistan in 2012. It was an awesome deployment there. Fell out of planes a few times myself on my 13th jump. I found a hill on Sicily drop zone and broke my ankle in 4 different places. So I have screwed plates all in my left ankle. But yeah, Fort Bragg is actually where I think I dropped it in the chat is where I started learning to fish. I hung out with a couple of buddies of mine, one from Georgia, one from Alabama. Never fished before. I'm from Chicago. All we do is shoot each other, and we're very good at that. But started hanging out with those guys, and we went out to McKellar's Pond out there behind the club out there, and then Holland Drop Zone and Mott Lake over there by on the backside over there. And we went out and got a cane pole, and we were over at Simmons Lake behind the airfield, and I flung a lure out there. I had a worm on it. My buddy was like, "Oh, you don't need the whole worm. Just cut it in half and don't use half of it." I was like, "I don't want to hurt it," as I'm jabbing a hook through it. When you're out into the lake, hook what probably, if I look at the picture now, probably a 3-4 pound bass. Went to pull it in, realized, oh, there's a cane pole. There's no rod or reel. So I just turned around and ran up the boat ramp and dragged it back onto the boat ramp, and it just like got hooked from there. And I was just like, this is kind of fun. And I went to Dick's Sporting Goods that day, bought a spinning reel, small little tackle box, and it has just grown into now what is a 20-foot bass boat sitting over here in parking lot by the marina by my house. So,
Love it.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Like, when I broke my ankle, like, I couldn't jump anymore. So I dragged at that point. They're like, okay, thank you for your service in the long, sent me to Korea. And I couldn't bass fish there because there's no bass fishing in Korea. So I went down the YouTube rabbit hole. I was just telling some guys yesterday. I told Rick earlier we had a big Veterans Day bass tournament here in Virginia at Lake Anna, about an hour south of Fort Belvoir, and it was 100 boats. Only rule is everyone, either the boater or the co-angler, had to be a veteran. And in many cases, it was both. I was fortunate; I had a retired son first class in the boat with me, 34 years for him. And I was telling him, like, it just, you don't, I came up, so I'm 41, so maybe a little younger than some of the guys. The social media group is what brought me up. So, you know, for as much hate as the Googans get, that's kind of where I started before they were even Googans. Me and Rob Turkler, we were actually in Afghanistan at the same time in the 82nd, 2012. He was right down the road in Kandahar while we were in Bagram. And so just watching them, watching Gene, Pete Denson, all those guys coming up doing YouTube before, and it's like, this is more than just sitting there with a hook and a worm and a bobber, and just then you turn into the tackle junkie and go down that rabbit hole. But no, it's been great, and you guys hit on so many different points. And the VFWs and the legions out there, they're the ones who get in. My VFW in Kentucky at Fort Knox, they did a kids fishing derby all 3 years I was there. Still do it every year. Last year there at 23, we had over 300 kids. And we get so many of those organizations that chime in and help. And every kid left that tournament with a rod, a tackle box, and memories for a lifetime. From infants to 18, it was amazing. So, yeah, you guys hit on a lot of stuff. I just a lot of nerves. I just wanted to call in and just say that, like, this is amazing. Rick, thanks for putting this together. Your support is obvious. Your passion is obvious. You can tell you're genuine when you say it. I've seen you get emotional. But to all you guys, we're all one big happy family here. Police, fire, law enforcement, paramedics. We're all one big happy family is how I look at it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ralph.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. All right.
Thanks,
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. Talk to you later.
Thank you, sir.
Ralph. We have one other. You guys got time for one more call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take one more call. He called while Ralph was on. Hello?
Hello?
Is this Mike?
Yes.
Mike at MONSTERBASS.
Hey.
You're live on the show.
Oh, okay. A little delay here. Hey, first statement, Rick. Love the new bag.
Thank you.
My question for the guys is, one of my best friends from high school was a 20-year vet in the Marines, and I know he suffers from PTSD. When they get distance, what's the best thing you can do to help them draw them back in?
That's a tough question. That really is. Because you're going to meet a lot of resistance typically when we distance ourselves.
Do you know what he loves doing?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the question.
yeah, like what does he find any interest in?
We do fantasy football together.
Okay, so if he likes football, take him to a football game.
Yeah.
Go to a football game.
Yeah.
Do something within his interest, because that will take
North
his.
Carolina.
Hold on, John. He's saying the problem is he lives in North Carolina and your buddy lives where?
I live in PA. He lives in North Carolina.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
But you
tell
still-
you what I do. I'll tell you what I
You know
do.
what?
So,
Buy him some football tickets and to where his local college or pro ball is, and I guarantee he'd thank you for it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Honestly, keep them engaged.
Yep.
And don't be shocked about what he says, and if he's a jackass, just understand that that's just kind of that mode he's in that day. I call it grace. You got to have a lot of grace for vets because it depends on what our medication level is that day, how our TBI is acting up, our PTS triggers or whatnot, and you have to be willing to basically not be afraid of his rejection for the moment and just say, you know what, I love you, and I'm not going to stop calling you.
I'd say
If he's talking a lot, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, don't stop being present. Be
Yes.
present on the phone. Be present every chance you can. Constantly make, and show that he is a priority, and that will go a long way. Even though, like Matt said, there'll be some rejection times. There'll be probably some select words that they'll be using, but be present. And let them know that that's not an option. You are there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have a buddy that suffers from depression, and we both play fantasy football, and we will both sit on a Sunday. He'll put on the red zone on his TV. I'll put it on mine, and we will sit there and watch red zone and talk the entire time about what's going on. And he
We used to do that.
yeah, and he told me that like it's his favorite part of the week because he never feels like he's alone, and we're doing something fun because either I'm talking trash about his team, he's talking about mine or my players or something, but it's just something where you just feel like there's this bond, even though you're not in the same place. So I think there's a number of things you can do, and I think a lot of people have had some good feedback.
Just know if he's giving you crap a lot, he probably likes you a lot. Because that's the way a lot of military guys show their
love
towards another. Yeah, their love to another person is if they're giving you crap. I mean, hardcore crap. They're giving you love. Just know that.
They noticed you.
Yeah,
I love it.
You good, Mike?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it's just, it's hard sometimes when they distance us. I'm just not sure to try to engage or just giving them space.
Space is never good. I mean, you just gotta be present with people. I mean, that's the toughest deal. I mean, let them know that they're important to you. That's another big key piece of it. I think that's the part where they, as long as you know that they matter to you, and that keeps them knowing that they have people that care about them along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you feel awkward to like jump in and like maybe you feel like you're bugging them, a big way that I've engaged with people is, well, obviously a lot of guys know I make stupid videos online, right? So sharing memes, like that's a good way to break the ice. I can tell sometimes, just having that emotional intelligence to see when my fellow brothers and sisters aren't doing well. Maybe they start posting some dark stuff or, being real weird, posting really negative, start saying negative things. I'll just send them like a funny meme. That's, right. Good icebreaker. And when they reply back, haha, that's funny. Boom. There's you broke the ice. Versus saying, hey, you good? The answer is always going to be, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm fine.
I'm good.
Yep.
I could literally be sitting there with, a weapon in my hand, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm good. That's kind of what happened with my buddy. I called him, checked on him, and he's like, I'm going to call you right back. And, unfortunately, he never called me back, but he said everything was good, So I still kind of live with that in the back of my mind, versus so when a lot of guys now, it's like, hey, I'm not going to ask you good because it's always going to say, yeah, I'm good. It's like, just kind of break the ice with something. Like everyone said, share whatever his favorite sports team is. Send him a meme making fun of that team or something. You know what I mean? Like making fun of the college that he follows or something. Just kind of break the ice. Still let him know that you're there. But yeah, It's tough. It's tough. It is tough. It ain't easy. And then every single person is different. What
It
makes
is.
Matt, Rick tick is different from what makes strikers, Sean and Chauncey, what breaks the ice with us. We're all different. So, but you just do your best, brother. The fact that you're even calling in and asking these questions, that already lets me know everything I need to know about you, that your heart's in the right place, dude.
Absolutely.
Keeping up, if you're a religious person, prayer, you know what I mean? And just
Mhm.
try to be that light in this dark, dark world for a lot of us,
Agreed.
Right. Well, I really appreciate the feedback, guys, because what you guys done for us, you can't say enough, and you just want to be there for your best friends when they need you the most.
Well, you're doing it. Just keep doing it.
All right, thanks for taking my call, Rick.
You got it, man. Have a great night.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, again, Rick, thank you for letting us. Oh, I couldn't hear you for a second. I apologize, but
Go ahead,
thank you for letting us come run the show today and hang out. And guys, really, I appreciate all your stories, because that last call was kind of the epitome of the whole reason why I did this. And Jose, you know a little bit of my story, and lost my battle buddy about the same way you lost yours, and so in all honesty, if we can stop one of those from happening just by getting a rod into somebody's hand or saying hi, that's my goal with this. And so I want everybody, if you're watching this show tonight, to or in the future or whenever you watch this, there's a bunch of people around you that want you to succeed. And I promise you, even though I haven't met you personally, there's a bunch of people that can sit here and understand how crappy it can get, but we can also sit here and explain how much better it can get. So don't give up today, and keep pushing through to tomorrow, because tomorrow's worth it to be here for.
Yeah.
And we all want our battle buddies here, and wish we could go back and fix that. But at the same time, part of what drives me on for what I'm doing now is the fact that if I can stop one more from joining that club, that's a win for my life. So
Yeah. And if I can add to that, even if you weren't in the military, even if you didn't serve, life can be challenging, and too much time on your hands gives you one thing to do, and that's have conversations with yourself. And unfortunately, our ego tends to take over and tells us the deepest, darkest things that most of the time we don't want to hear. And so if you're struggling and you're sitting here and you're like, well, that's great, but I wasn't in the military. Every single one of us here is still available for you.
absolutely.
And so if you're struggling and you need someone, I mean, I've given out my number a million times. I'm going to answer it every time. So, like, don't feel like you're alone. Reach out to anyone, and just raise your hand and ask for help. There's a ton of courage in raising your hand, and I don't think anyone who's half a decent, any decent human being is gonna be there for you. So please, if you're struggling, just raise your hand. That's all it takes. So I thank you guys so much for coming on, and Matt, thank you for putting this all together. I really appreciate you doing that. I appreciate each one of you coming on and taking time away from your day and your families to be here. And I guess before we go, maybe we can, I'll give you guys each a chance if there's something you want to say before you go. We can do that. So why don't we start with you, Sean?
Hey, I don't really have anything else to say, but it seems like, Matt, you surround yourself with a whole bunch of infantry and field artillery guys on this thing. Enjoyed every single one of you guys. So appreciate it. Thanks, Rick, for having us on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Guys, I'll
go ahead.
I'll just close and say, just if you're around veterans or first responders, Leos, whatever, just encourage them. The outdoors is a wonderful place to lay a lot of those issues out, and the water is truly, truly a healing place to be. And so get them outside, let them breathe, get them calm, trust me, it will transform some things. So definitely that's a big encouragement to do that.
Thank you, Jay. Jose?
Yeah, you know, what's in the past is in the past. All those hardships, everybody goes through everything. But like Sean said earlier, you know, what he went through made him who he is today. And I think all of us can agree. No matter what it was, you know, veteran or not, everybody goes through crap, you know, and all those hardships make you who you are today. It's part of your story. Whether you have to take it second by second, minute by minute, day by day, things will always get better. Things are always going to get better, and the world is better with you here. If you ever need anything, veteran or not, you know, people already know they could reach out to me. You know, we're all here. If it wasn't for the military, I wouldn't be where I'm at now because of the skills that I learned. And if it wasn't for fishing, I wouldn't have great friends like you know, every one of you that I've met here on this live stream that we've connected. So yeah, you know, thank you for having us, having me on here, and you know, every single one of you matter.
Thank you. Well said. Well said. Chauncey?
Well, how do I follow up to these three guys? Oh my God. They pretty much closed it out.
All right, great.
If you're here because you got fishing's an outlet for everyone, whether you're military or civilian. Look, just get out there and fish, man, because that's what your passion is. Because if you're here for fishing, that's what you love to do. So just get out there and keep pounding the water and get that big one, get that double digit. It's going to make you happy as soon as you land it. Matt, thanks for having us all on together right here for a veteran tribute. And Rick, man, ever since I've known you, dude, you've done so much for the veterans, man. And I truly cannot say thank you enough. That speaks so much volume that you put veterans in the forefront. I mean, in the front of everything that you do for Monster Bass. It's truly special.
Thank you. Thank you. I do it because I really am, like I said, I can't say enough. I'm really grateful for all of you. Grateful for the sacrifices that you and your families all made so that I can live my life the way that I do. So, Matt, is there anything you want to close this show out with?
You're not alone, and trust me, we want to hear from you, so reach out. So if you need something, don't be afraid to lean on somebody, because there is somebody that wants to hear it, and I'm one of those people. So it's if there's a billion people on this planet, you know, that need to hear something today, know that there is somebody that wants to take time and spend time with you, and you're worth that. So don't take our opportunity to spend that time with you away.
Well said. Well said. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks again for coming on the show and for all that you guys do, all that you guys did. And the world's a better place because of the fact that you're all in it. So keep living your best lives.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right. All right. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
See you.
Bye. Wow. That was a great show. I'm going to bring Matt back on. Matt,
Yes, sir.
thanks for putting on a great show.
Man, I appreciate you letting me come do this.
Yeah.
About a month ago, when we had that first conversation of wanting to do this, it was like I'd actually just seen a post from my battle buddy's page, and it was his mom talking about, you know, here's another year, and so it was just one of those where it was like, that's right around the corner, and Veterans Day, what a better opportunity to tell a veteran that we love them, and what a better community to reach out to and say that there's a reason you're here. And if it's to fish or if it's to do something else, it was just, you know, we love you and we want you to be here with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. Awesome. And thank you again for having me out. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
You got it, man. Have a great night.
You do the same.
All right, bye. Matt Brown, everyone. Wow, I gotta tell you, that was a powerful show. It's very clear that I need better lighting. I can't have the dogs in the house when the show's on or outside. I have to be in a separate room. But yeah, it was a really powerful show. I mean, I don't make this crap up. Like, I'm truly blessed to live in the United States of America, and despite all the stuff that's going on, and Democrat, Republican, I could care less. Like, it's what makes this country great. You get the ability to make a choice and pick a side, and I think at the end of the day, we should all just be good human beings. That's all it is. Just be good human beings and respect one another. So I love you guys a lot, and I'm really grateful that I get to have this platform and be a part of this community, because it's not my community. It's our community, and I'm really grateful that we get to do this. So I want to say happy birthday to Ford. I don't know how old you are, but happy birthday. I guess you guys want some golden tickets, huh? All right, so you know the routine. Time to put your golden tickets in the chat. This month's, last month's, I don't care what it is. I'm gonna call out some numbers, and if I call your number, email me at rick@monsterbass.com. Take a picture of the ticket. I need your name, your email address, your name, your cell phone, your address, and your shirt size. I'm gonna pick some, and we're gonna see what we can do. Let's see some golden tickets. Woo-wee! Nelly Jelly Belly? I've never seen that one. Ticket and garage, pick me, and I'll donate the prize to a veteran organization. That's pretty crazy. Wow, we got the numbers are rolling in. Oh, that's right, Nelly Jelly Belly. I commented the first time around, didn't I? Yeah, I get it. We got, just so you guys know while you're putting in your numbers, we got a special show next week. Evidently, the guest is going to be me. Our host next week is going to be none other than Samantha Olson, who is going to be interviewing me, and we're going to be talking about some of the stuff we got going on and some of the things we're doing moving forward. And she asked me today if anything's off limits, so I said no. So if you've got questions that you want her to ask me, I'm all for it. Like, call in, ask the question. You can ask me anything you want. I'll answer it. Within reason, we got to keep it PG for all the little ones watching. Okay, numbers are coming. I picked my first one. About to pick my second one. Okay, golden tickets are in. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Tonight's golden ticket numbers are 5. Wait, put my number in. Someone else can win. Tonight's golden ticket numbers are 54762 and 70851. If you got this, email me at rick@monsterbass.com. If not, I'll see you next week. Do me a favor if you liked it. Hit the like button on the way out. Just give me the thumbs up. You can do that by hitting the X on your thing, getting rid of the chat, and right there you'll see it. And we'll see you next week. I love you guys. Have a great night. Let's see. Good night.